In my previous video for the Long Dark, I made an assumption about the location of a place in the game that we haven't seen but is very important for many reasons. Port Mary is the location I want to talk about because it is not only important for an upcoming video I'm working on, but it might also be important for the finale of Wintermute or even future stories in the Long Dark. Before I continue, please make sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. You have no idea how much it will help the video and the channel. And if you want to support the channel even further, become a member and earn some bonus perks. In order to justify me making this video, I have to answer this question. Why is Port Mary important? First, let's examine the only reference to it in the game, which is in the Town of Milton collectible in Wintermute Episode 1. Its location about halfway between Port Mary and the interior mountains. This is the only time Port Mary is referenced, but I believe it is so much more important than we realize. Here is the second half of that sentence from the collectible. Gave it a natural advantage as a convenient stopping off point for fuel and supplies for miners, loggers, mill workers, and campers from the mainland, a dynamic that fueled the town's growth as the island's economy boomed in the 1980s. What that tells me is that Port Mary is quite literally a port town, allowing for ships and ferries to bring in people, supplies, and export goods from the island. This is what allowed Milton to prosper economically. It sounds like the workers that would work around the island, especially in the interior mountains, used Port Mary as the hub for the island. To confirm this, here is another part of that same collectible. However, the construction of the Great Bear Highway, aka Highway 15, meant travelers could easily bypass Milton on their way north. This tells me that Port Mary is on or next to the Great Bear Highway, and the interior mountains are north of Port Mary and Milton. There is a problem with this sentence and my previous guesstimate of Port Mary's location. The world map you see in-game is actually oriented the wrong way. Assuming the Earth is still tilted correctly, you can clearly see the sun is rising in this direction on the coastal highway. In the northern hemisphere during the late fall, early winter, the sun would be rising from the east and slightly south. Unless the Earth suffered some kind of axial tilt during the first flare, which I don't think is the case, we have been looking at the world map the wrong way. Now that we are looking at the map in its correct orientation, we can put the pieces of the puzzle together. Milton is down here. The road that goes through Milton is right here. This is the road going from Keeper's Pass to Pleasant Valley. This is the Great Bear Highway, as well as the approximate direction we can assume it goes since it follows the coastline. Then there is the old road going from Pleasant Valley to what looks like the highway. I think this is where Port Mary is, this intersection between the two roads. This is the road leading from Milton to the interior mountains, so it is very likely that they are north of the Ash Canyon region. This would mean the highway extends further to the northwest, allowing Port Mary to have significantly easier access to the interior mountains. And as a little bonus, this is where Perseverance Mills would be. We know that it is up north according to Grandmother, and it is on the Great Bear Highway according to Father Thomas. Also, if you look at this really old map of the original story for the Long Dark, you can see that there were plans to go that far up the coast. I highly doubt the overall story of the game had changed so much from the campaign redux that this map isn't, at a basic level, still somewhat correct. While editing this video, I also had the idea that Port Mary could also be down here past the Bleak Inlet since the highway does extend in that direction. The old island connector, which became part of the highway, makes me think that this stretch of road was the original connecting point between the eastern coastline and the interior of the island. Then the extension of the highway to the northwest is what allowed much easier access to the interior mountains. I think both locations are a possibility, but I firmly believe that this location just north of Pleasant Valley is the correct location. So there you have it. This is my best guess as to where Port Mary is. Additionally, we now know roughly where the interior mountains are and where Perseverance Mills is. It was all a matter of viewing the world the correct way and putting the few clues we had together. Now the last thing I want to clear up is this. Why do we need to know where Port Mary is? I speculate that it will be a playable region in Wintermute Episode 5 or even a future campaign release. Milton's existence, which was our first look at the state of Great Bear Island after the collapse, relied greatly on Port Mary. The devs didn't have to name drop this location so early on, but they did it anyway. To me, this means that Port Mary is important enough not only for the island itself, but also for the story of the Long Dark. I'm not just talking about Wintermute, I'm also talking about other stories within the game, and that is where this video ends so I can prepare for the next one. In the previous video I asked, can you survive the Long Dark as a vegan? I really like this comment because a strict vegan diet would eventually leave you with nothing left to eat. The natural foods are not renewable, but birch bark is and can heal you. Theoretically, you could survive by keeping your condition above 0, but you will be perpetually starving at some point. Don't try this at home. Shout out to @JJ-SU7RE and @SlippedGear. My question for this video is, what is your favorite region to play? It could be for any number of reasons, but let me know your answer in the comments. Mine is good old Mystery Lake because it is well balanced, easy to navigate and memorize, and it is where the Long Dark started. Anyways, if you watched until the end, I appreciate you so very much. If you haven't already, please make sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. You have no idea how much it will help the video and the channel. And if you want to support the channel even further, become a member and earn some bonus perks. I'll see you next time.